Okay, welcome to Into the Channel podcast, primarily about women's football. I am your host, Dino De Cespedes, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Grant Engel. What is up, man?
I'm feeling fantastic, buddy. You know, these last few months, these last several months, I would say, perhaps even these last several years, feels like justice has been in short supply. Not today, my good man. I feel like justice was absolutely served.
Yep, some uppance has come. Some comeuppance has upped. I'm not sure, but some good stuff happened. I mean, hitting that point where starting to get a little emotional, a little wistful about, you know, the journey that has been this Euro 2025 tournament. Just 3 teams left. A big semifinal matchup, a historic, memorable semifinal matchup went down today. I'm not sure there's another place to get started, but we'll go through the formality anyway. Mr. Grant Engel, where should we get started?
My good man, let's start with a celebratory beverage.
Whoa. Before you do that, roll the tape. Well, do you have a prediction?
I do. I'm going to say 2-1 England wins it late.
I like it. I'm going to go with the old tried and true 1-1 England wins in penalty kicks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, what else can you say? And you know what? I do also want to point out my beer from Matchless Brewery, about like an hour or so, I think, south of Seattle, called Getaway. Because sometimes it feels nice to make a getaway in the late stages of a football match.
What a prediction by you, by the way. Cheers to you.
You know what? I appreciate that. And cheers to you. And cheers to the football.
Cheers. Here's to the Lionesses.
Yeah, absolutely. They held up their end of the bargain.
We were in prime territory. I mean, I had the 1-1 PKs. You had the 2-1 with England scoring late. I mean, things were looking pretty rosy. But I think down the stretch, I was going through the scenario where I was like, oh my God, if Italy score here, though, and both of our predictions just get nuked, that would be a real bummer. But wasn't the case. But I want to talk about the match. So much to cover. So many different places we can get started. The beers have been cracked. I don't know. Do we want to let people know? I think everybody already knows the result of this one. England gets it done, 2-1, late goal. I mean, as late as you can get with both of those. But you were there. Well, you weren't there, but you were there in spirit. Tell me about your experience watching this one.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Everybody knows the result because I told them days ago what was going to happen, so everybody knew the result. No, man, look, I thought England played well in the first half. You know, even going down, 1-0, it was Italy's first shot of the match, the Bonansé goal. But I felt like they were controlling large stretches. There was a weird thing happening where I was like, I feel like England is getting the better chances. But the thing about it is they weren't really getting chances because Italy was clogging up every single shooting alley that was available. And I got to tell you, as somebody who's been an England supporter for a long time, that was pretty frustrating.
It was tough. I mean, I think that was Italy's game plan. I was blue skying with our guy, Charlie. Shout out to Charlie. And I was mentioning that I thought England looked the better side in the first half, but the first half was played on Italy's terms, which was, you could take shots. You could have the ball in our half, but we're going to have bodies everywhere and you won't have any space or room to do anything. I was actually shocked by how many of England's strikes didn't even reach the keeper. Like it was
crazy.
It was just
crazy.
Like, sometimes it was 2 defenders there. They were just like fighting to see who was going to get the block. Just like trying to steal rebounds in the NBA. But again, I think the first half was played on their terms. And it was funny. The Bonansé goal happens. When did that happen? 33rd minute. Happens at the 33rd minute. And I'm like, I think this goal might be late enough that they might be able to bleed this game out.
They certainly thought so. Yep. I mean, you start time wasting at 40 minutes. We haven't even got to halftime yet. I mean, look, man, I mentioned it. I've mentioned it multiple times throughout this tournament. That is just kind of a staple of Italian football, is that they get a lead and they're just going to dive and waste time and pull on your jersey and run to the referee and do this every time they don't like a call. And the keeper's going to take 90 seconds for every goal kick. And you know what, man? Ball don't lie. They really ratcheted up the time wasting, I want to say around like the 60th minute. In my notes, I just wrote, have some fucking shame. You can't start time wasting with 30 minutes remaining in the match. It's just ridiculous, man.
I'm totally with you on the ball don't lie. We'll get to sort of like the ball don't lie ramifications. But we talked about Italy that first half. I thought, they controlled it. I agree with you. England's attack pretty frustrated. Couldn't really get anything going, even though they win the XG battle. They have most of the possession, even though it was tighter. I think throughout most of the match, I think the final result was closer to 60-40. Yeah. But yeah, I think, second half, I think I want to talk about the subs. Sarina Wiegman, because like it was pretty nervy. Obviously, Mead comes in right after halftime. I thought LJ was a little off. Mead comes in the second half. Well, what were the vibes like for you watching the second half?
Well, sometimes, occasionally, I can get a bit emotional rooting, watching the teams that I support. And so here, directly, the first two lines from my notes in the second half. One, LJ off for Mead. M dash, don't love it. And then the next line, Mead makes 2 mistakes within the first 150 seconds. Loses 2 challenges. Second one to Girelli in England's defensive half. Really don't like this. Then it was like, as I was typing that, Jackie Iole did mention, LJ picked up a knock in the last match and something to do with her ankle, I believe it was. And so you mentioned she didn't exactly look herself. I think that's right. She looked just like a half step off of maybe a little more, maybe 3/4 of a step off of what she usually looked like. I mean, she could have had that goal in the first half where she had the right-footed shot near post. If she would have got a little more air under it, I think she beats the keeper in that spot. But it was a great save by Giuliani. Credit to her. But yeah, to be honest, I was not optimistic about that change. But when Jackie Iole, the Goatly, mentioned that perhaps LJ was a bit hampered, I was like, okay, had to be done. And from there, it was just, if you're Wiegman, do you choose Mead or Kelly? And it just turns out that Chloe Kelly is the end of match secret weapon / victory cigar at this point.
I couldn't believe it. As the game's going on, I thought the Mead change, I thought it made some sense because I agree with you. We didn't get really like that dynamic, electric Lauren James. It just didn't really look threatening. And we actually talked about in the preview that I was like, I'm not sure England has the right profile of players to kind of break through if they need to, like if their back's against the wall. And I think that kind of played itself out because roughly the starters, minus Hemp who stayed in, all kind of got subbed out, like from an attacking standpoint. And it ends up being those subs that kind of could really make the difference down the stretch. So I thought Wiegman playing a little bit of a dangerous game, waiting till the 77th to bring in Chloe Kelly. But turns out it was like right on the money. And I thought Italy, we talked about the style that they were employing. They wanted to be defensive. They wanted to be really economical, really efficient with their chances, which they were. But I thought that strategy of like, hey, let's defend, let's be in all the lanes, let's not lose our discipline at all. I thought that strategy really took a toll on them. And like when you start to think about all those moments, the James chances, Russo had a chance in the first half. Keira Walsh had shots. I think we're seeing like a more, shot happy Keira Walsh than we've seen before. Chloe Kelly comes in the match in the 77th and leads England in shots with 4. Then you look at, I had one other stat here. 9 England players notched 2+ shots in this match. So if you're Italy and you're defending, it just starts to take a toll. And as you watch like down the stretch, you get a lot more close calls. You get the Ajimang, you get the goal, and then she puts one on the bar like right before the decider. So like I think it was the right strategy to really hold, and then kind of like bring on those subs. I mean, Ajimang comes on the 85th. Aggie Beaver Jones comes on the 85th. Like I can't like that's so. I would have had a heart attack. If it's me at that spot, I don't know what I would have done, but I definitely would not have not waited until 85 or 77 for Chloe Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, Wiegman, that's part of her calling card. Like, and credit to you who mentioned that. I mean, you predicted that Esme Morgan would come on, would start instead of Carter. Now, obviously, there's the racist abuse that Jess Carter suffered. I think we'll get into that later in the show. That may have played a bit of a role there. But you were right about that. Morgan coming in for Carter. But then the rest, that's Wiegman's substitution pattern, man. She leaves it late, like every single match. When she finds her 11, she likes her 11, and then she wants to make those tactical changes late. And it's a great point by you. They really worked. Like Alessia Russo, I thought she was fine. Like you said, she had her chances, but wasn't really a game changer. And once you get her off, I liked so it was Williamson off for an attacking player. Yeah, it was Williamson off for Ajamang, and then Russo out for ABJ. Obviously, like any manager is going to make like attacking minded changes in that scenario, but they immediately came on and changed the game. So like it's easy to say now those were great changes, but those were the necessary changes. They needed to have more of an attacking posture. That's simple. But Ajamang was just immediately able to get into dangerous spaces whilst Italy's defenders were exhausted, exactly to your earlier point, because they were just pinned back. The bus was firmly parked, and it was just getting pelted with shots all match. And eventually that's going to take a toll on you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mentioned Elena Linari a few times in our previews as well. And I think Linari, who's been awesome the entire tournament, like just
Great.
Rock solid, a real problem for anybody trying to score, do anything down that side. And the Ajamang goal, she's just pinballing around Linari as a defender. She's like kind of chasing, it was Hemp to Mead. So she's chasing Mead, doesn't get to Mead. Mead gets a shot. Now she's spun around the other way, tries to chase down Ajamang, tries to run off the ball, doesn't get there either. And just a super clean finish. I had a comp, because like now, Ajamang on England, you guys might have yourself a real player here. I got to say, reminds me, I know it's early, I know this is a big comp, reminds me of a young Barbara Benda.
Wow. Okay. That's a gigantic comp.
I think she's got the speed. I think she's got the acceleration, kind of like in small spaces. And I thought the goal was really incredible. So we talked about Mead. She gets the shot to deflection. And,
Right.
Ajamang, like when the shot happens, you see so many strikers or people in the box kind of just be in the wrong position. Like either they get close to somebody else or they're closer to, they almost take themselves out of the play. And on that play, Ajamang like knows almost like a rebound in the NBA, knows where to back up to and kind of like get positioned rightly. A, where the ball is, going to end up deflecting to, but B, where there's nobody. So she kind of like sails off into a little bit of space. The ball comes her way, and then it's a touch with the outside of her boot to go right to get into even more space, and then just rips it. Like just an awesome finish. But then also has the header. I'm sorry, like the little dinker down the stretch, like right before the death. So shows a little bit of touch too. And both of these, you cannot ratchet the pressure any higher. You're talking about 90 plus 6 for the equalizer, and 117, 118, going 1-on-2 to almost beat the keeper, for a winner, like in added extra time, which we never ever see a winner in added extra time. Thank God we actually had something happen within those 30 minutes. But Ajamang, what a future.
I mean, you said we might have a player talking about me and my English, my England support, buddy. It is we, because she's going back to Arsenal off that loan from Brighton. I think we both have a player on our hands here.
Cheers to that.
Yes, nothing wrong with that. I'm sure you're going to be very, very excited as I continue to watch Chloe Kelly play great. And I thought Lauren Hemp was. I mean, we say it all the time. She's a dog out there, man. She's so tough, just like pushing players around, getting to her spots. Like she hits the afterburners multiple times, and I'm not surprised at how fast she is. But still, there are moments where I'm like, oh yeah, she got around that corner even faster than I thought. And so there were a couple of times where obviously I could be a little cantankerous at points where I'm like, wow, Chloe Kelly and Lauren Hemp, they're great. Imagine if they played on the same team. That would be awesome. I would really like that. Maybe my manager would play them both at the same time. But I digress. That's not important right now. This is about England.
Yeah, it's about England. And, players working together on the pitch like Ajamang and Kelly and Beth Mead and no, we'll talk about that one later. Chloe Kelly, my player to watch coming into this one. I mean, we already talked about
Good call.
77th minute enters the match. How about leads the match in shots with 4?
Just comes in there and makes it
77th
happen.
minute. Yeah, whatever you do. Almost has an Olympico off a corner. She's got that 98th minute run into the box where she's like in, out, just darting. I think Jackie described it as dancing, which I loved. What else? She's just freaking Mariano Rivera. Like, you could just bring her in and it just sends a chill down the spine of the opponent. And my favorite part, and I don't get on players for stank facing, getting subbed off. It sucks. Like, you want to be able to play, but she's the opposite. She's just like, she's on the bench. She's like, oh, I'm not playing. That's all right. Like, I'm going to get in and fuck shit up as soon as I get on there. And like, I've played with people like that. Like, they don't care if they start. They don't care. They just don't care. They just know that they're going to come out and just roll everybody and everything. And it's just such a cool, that's like the ultimate level of just badassery. And then throw into that, obviously the penalty shot gets blocked. She's all over it. The putback, and then the celly of just like I know there's 30 seconds left in this match, but everybody just
That's my favorite.
Calm down. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Ice cold. Calm down. I literally said out loud, I'm like sitting in silence watching the match. She does that. She starts doing the calm down. I go, they're not going to calm down. They're actually, everybody's going to do the exact opposite of calm down because you just sent us to the final again. Yeah, ice cold. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned this about her being like the super sub of all super subs. Like, obviously, we like to talk about the NBA occasionally, some Jamal Crawford vibes maybe. What about,
I thought you say Manu?
Manu, also great. But is that nearly as fun as instead of Lemon Pepper Lou Will, Lemon Pepper Chloe Kelly? I mean, just for the 2 people who might get that reference who watch this show. Shout out to Lou Williams, man. Loved when he played, just coming in, just doing what he does. Like you said, like, oh, okay, I don't start today. Okay, wait till I get out there. I'll play.
Yep, it's murder. Very excited. You mentioned a couple players, Alex Greenwood, Lauren Hemp. I think you can include Georgia Stanway in that mix for players that came back from serious injuries, like long-term injuries. All players that I think were maybe loosely within the range of this tournament being a little bit in the balance. I think Georgia Stanway, like, this was first minutes in a while, definitely in an England shirt after her last injury. Yeah. But it almost feels like you take any of those 3 players out of the mix and like now all of a sudden maybe England doesn't get past Italy, because I think those 3 players have just been so important in terms of eating up minutes. Greenwood, unbelievable, like involved in everything, worked her way up the field once it was needed defensively. What we had seen Italy be able to do, Cantore, Girelli, and some of those offensive attackers, like, we just didn't see any of those, joyous runs. We just didn't really see them. Like, I think, the defense was really locked in from an England standpoint, and they just weren't going to get beat with anything more than what they got beat with in the first half from Bonansea.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I put in my notes at one point, Italy employing the old 7-2-1 formation. Mm-hmm. That's what it felt like at times. But, it didn't help matters that Stanway and I thought Walsh in a lot of spots, and to your point, Greenwood, were just mucking up their runs. And they weren't able – they were kind of doing like the Spain thing where their press was really disrupting Italy from even getting the ball out of their own half and in a lot of situations. And Greenwood – is a funny player, man. I mean, you see it for Manchester City too, where there are times where she has some moments where I'm just like, oh, woof, like she looked confused out there. And then for the next 15 minutes, I'm just like, oh, nobody can get past her. And she's making really smart passes. So, I mean, she's got the experience. A lot of times wears the captain's C for Manchester City Football Club. And yeah, I mean, she came through. Lucy Bronze, you already know what time it is. I mean, we call her Lucy Big Game Bronze. How about Lucy Back Post Bronze? Because that's 7-Eleven, buddy. That play's always open. Like
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes like 10 times, like bronze at the back post is eventually going to net something for us.
I'll always remember the Barcelona Benfica,
Oh
the
my
fourth
God.
to tie.
Yes, that was so
Just
great.
like the most unlikely. I think that was another bronze back poster, but yeah, that's like clockwork. Another super luxury to have a player that is just going to be whatever, be there for all of it, even though she was involved in the Bonansea goal. But I mean, great game defensively, offensively was involved, was a threat. And on a day like today, where Italy's super stout and you need different angles, you need to throw different things at them. I mean, having Bronze back there kind of, to your point, moseying around, kind of like, being a little sneaky is a tremendous advantage. And then you add to that 30 passes into the final third for a Lucy Big Game Bronze to lead the match. Impact player of the highest order.
No doubt. And plays pretty much the same way in the 118th minute as she did in the second minute. I mean, like the endurance is there. Unbelievable athlete, great leader. She's, at an advanced age in this sport and still just gives you the full time. And there was never a moment where I thought Wiegman was going to take her off the pitch. Because why would you? Because she was delivering throughout the entire match.
Yeah, no way. I mean, she was huge. Let's talk about the penalty. I didn't get your take on it. We haven't talked about it. You mentioned a basketballism that's important to, I think, both you and I, that maybe could apply here. Ball don't liest. I think the football gods may be a little annoyed with Italy's style. I mentioned all of the close calls for England leading up, to the penalty. And I think if you're Severini there, you just can't put yourself in that spot, and I think it reminded me a lot of what LeBron did to Basha in the box when they played, where it's just like, okay, it's been rough all day. And it like, it's such a savvy play there by me to be like, this play is going nowhere. Like all of the plays that we've, all of them but one that we've had today. And let me see if I can bait Severini here into something. And the ball was just close enough that the foul was live. And I think if that foul happens at any other point in the game, a foul is live. A penalty kick, all of those outcomes are live. It just so happened that it was a knockdown drag-out game. We're in added extra time. We're just minutes from the death. It gives it like a bad aftertaste for sure, but I had zero problem with the call.
Yeah, same here. I thought the aftertaste was just fine. I was all right with the call. Especially, I mean, we're talking about the ball don't lie principle again, and maybe I'll get yelled at in the comments for this. It was around the 63rd minute. Here's something from my notes. Greenwood barely gets any of Girelli, and she behaves as if she's been hit by a double-decker bus to maximum waste time. If you're just out here behaving like that around the 63rd minute, if you're going to rely, as you put it, the common term is like the dark arts or shithousery or whatever, if you're going to rely on that for a third of the regular time of the match, don't be mad when the other team gets away with it. Like even,
great point.
There are a couple moments too where Sanchin, their manager, is like doing like little things like stepping in the way of players who are trying to get the ball, when the ball goes out of bounds. Like, get out of my face with that. Like, enough of that. And then so, like, when England takes the lead late also, and the ball goes out of bounds, Sanchin like runs and grabs the ball and is like holding it up to an England player to like hurry up the throw. And it's like, nah, Bubba, that's what you're way past that. Like, of all people on planet Earth, you do not get to do that. So I've seen less called for a penalty in that spot. I've seen more not called for a penalty in that spot. You leave it up to the referee if you both are wrestling right near the penalty spot inside the 18 and you got dinged for it, man. Like, sorry for you. But like, that's the way it goes sometimes. And if you're going to employ all those tactics, turnabout is fair play, as they like to say.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm laughing because did you catch that moment in the match where Son Chin is trying to get the ball back in play, and then like he spots like Ajamang on the sideline. He's like, all right, hey. And like I think she's like, yeah, toss it, and then he tosses it to her. She just lets it hit her in the chest and fall on the floor. She just walks away.
Yeah, as she should have. Like the
awesome.
way the way that dude and his players were behaving. I mean, Ajimang is quickly climbing up the ranks. One of my favorite players to watch. I was glad she did it, and Sanchin deserved it in that moment.
Pretty lame behavior, and then he does the walk off like 2-3 minutes left in the match, like after the penalty kick. He's like,
I think he's in the tunnel, like putting his blazer back on. And then like 2 minutes later, his blazer's back off. I'm like, what is this guy doing?
Dramatic effect. You take the blazer off, put the blazer on. I think, but I'm like, dude, there's still 2-3 minutes in your tournament life. You're still alive. Like, the tournament's still happening. You can't fucking be in the, and like, there's been a penalty kick. There's going to be a couple extra minutes of it. Like there's still some coaching to do here with stakes. You're not down 4 goals. You're down a single goal. So that was just very weird. To see him like huff and puff, down the tunnel and then kind of grumble his way back to the sideline.
Oh, I was just gonna say, there is just a reality in this sport, and it's just that men are emotional creatures, and we just have to deal with that.
Yep. I mean, it's a drawback, but that's okay. We're not gonna ding them too hard for it. But in all seriousness, I thought Italy had a really good tournament. Considering where the expectations were to take it all the way to the limit. I mean, just a couple minutes away from the final is an incredible endpoint for this run. And I think we see this across sports. A team that is trying to kind of reach the mountaintop, reach the apex. There's a lot of like potholes and landmines up the mountain, right? To get there, and just like obstacles that you just don't see coming. We mentioned this before. To beat the champs, you just have to take the champion's belt. Like I think that's kind of like a boxing adage for sure. Italy played their game and they got extremely close. I think that's probably as good as they could have hoped for. Last quick note though, you cannot tell me down the stretch, especially when England makes those defensive subs, that one Valentina Giacinti wouldn't have been helpful. Maybe going at an Esme Morgan, maybe going at, an Alex Greenwood that's a little tired, or maybe a little dinged up Leah Williamson. I don't know, man. There were some people making the case that she didn't have the most productive season in Serie A, but you cannot tell me that player and that kid in that moment wasn't going to at least put a scare or two in you as an England fan.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we've seen too much watching Roma play. So I was happy that Giacinti was not available to be put in the match. Obviously not picked for the squad. I'll tell you though, there were a couple times in my notes where Martina Piemonte scared the hell out of me herself as well. I think there was one pass, like they could have iced it a couple times. There's the one.
The Severini chance, 86.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, where the match should have been over in that moment. I don't know. It's kind of a howler. Like, Hampton's on her side. It's a great effort by Hampton. But the second chance by Severini, you pretty much just, easy for me to say sitting here in my office in Seattle. But, like, I just thought she was just going to pop it over Hampton and end the match right there. But that's going to be a tough one to get over. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Giacinti would have helped. But, they made their choices. Piemonte couldn't get it done, even though she played well. But I think overall, you're right. Italy should be enormously proud of how far they went, the way they pushed England. They looked like winning it at times, even though I do think on balance England was the better side throughout. So, they have a lot to build off of. I thought Jackie Oatley and Lori Lindsay did a good job on the American broadcast of talking about how Serie A Femenil is not that old, but we've talked about it in this tournament. Like, they have some broadcast rights on CBS Sports Network here in America. There seems to be investment. The league is growing. They have good teams. They have good players. They're getting to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Good things are happening in that league. And this is just proof of concept.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man. Quick episode calendar. Just one more Euro 2025 semifinal matchup to go, and that is Spain, Germany. a couple of the biggest dogs in the mix here. Just 3 teams left. I mean, I think we maybe could have predicted these 3, but you know, it was a very fun ride getting here. So very excited. We will be back tomorrow breaking down Spain, Germany, and we'll be back a day after that, probably, give or take, to break down, preview, provide some predictions on the UEFA Women's Euro 2025 final. And if our previous predictions are an indicator for future success, you're going to want to listen to those. You're going to want to be, you know, probably, I don't know, hop on the ITC bandwagon and rock with us if you agree with where we think the wind is blowing. But with that said, anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
No, man, I think we've done it. I mean, you're right. We're down to the final 3. Who could have thought that England, Germany, and Spain would be good in a football tournament? But hey, it was more about the journey. I'm glad we covered it. I'm glad we witnessed it. I'm glad we're alive to witness it, even though witnessing what's happening in the rest of the world is not so great. I don't know why that had to take a dark turn there at the end, but whatever. It's football. The football's giving me life.
Yeah, man. It definitely it's been about the journey and the friends we've made along the way.
That's
this has
right.
been another episode of Into the Channel. Thank you for hanging out. We really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the show or love women's football as much as your boys do, make sure you kick with us each and every single week. Like, subscribe, follow YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to watch or listen. Leave us a review over your favorite podcast app. Links to all of our socials, except one, in the show notes of this episode. And a big thank you to my co-host as well, Mr. Grand Angle, for never losing faith, you know, never wavering, you know, never losing his cool, never raising his voice, you know, in key moments during the game, just a quiet, pensive, even keel. And what can I say, man? Championship rounds. And we got an ice cold performance from you and from me, and a great show. And I don't know, man. I think we're in championship form. I think we're ready for the final. We got one more match to go, just to, you know, work out some kinks, get a little warm, get the blood pumping, and then we'll be back for that big final. But either way, bro, I appreciate you, man, and congrats to you. Big win for England. Historic day, memorable day.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy, and the feeling is mutual. You know, congrats to you for getting you already have one half of your final correct. I mean, that's gigantic. I need to wait till this next match to see if I got even one half of the final. It's still live for you to have predicted both sides of the final.
Oh, that's a big
so
one.
Let's go. Now I'm even more excited for this second semifinal. I appreciate, you always dropping knowledge. Same with all of you. Thank you for watching, kicking it with us. And just to all the German fans, no matter what happens tomorrow, can you just do us a favor? Don't just like unsubscribe if Germany loses. Like that. I mean, like the numbers have like really jumped up, and we very much appreciate that. Just like don't like chop it back down. That's all I'm asking. Not saying that Germany's going to lose, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
I picked them, man. They're not going to lose. Come on now.
That's right. I mean, we're soothsayers at this point. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for hanging out, continuing to interact with us. We really appreciate it, and we will see you all next time.